In this video, we are going to create a simple accordion by using HTML, CSS and Alpine.js. So this is it. If we click any of the icons in here or even in the button, it is going to be slide up and show the content of that particular accordion. So this is very simple and basic, and let's get into it. At first, let's create the markup. So I'm just going to create a container div which will contain everything, and inside the div let's create another div and give this a class name of maybe single accordion. So we are going to put every single accordion in here. I have also opened this up by the live server extension and also added a little bit of CSS. Just the body got some stylings to make the accordion at the center and also some basic reset. I have also added a font of Montserrat. Also I have added a background color with the body. This is a little bit grayish color, so we are going to give the accordion a color of white so it can stand out from the background. So inside the single accordion we need two things, right? The first one will be the top, which we can use a button or anchor tag or anything. So let's actually use a button here, and inside the button we are going to add the SVG icons for arrow up and arrow down. Also we need to add a text, so let's do that. Accordion on. Okay, for the arrow icons I am just going to use the hero icons. The URL is heroicons.com. so let's search for something. Okay, I don't own the arrow, but we can use the chevron up and down. Okay, so let's copy the SVG code for chevron down and paste it before the text here. I'm just going to comment this out. This is the chevron down. And now let's add the chevron up, which is this one. Let's just copy the SVG code and close it. We don't need any more icons in here. Chevron up. Okay, I'm just going to use the beautify to align the codes properly. So this is our basic accordion button, and after finishing of the button, let's add the contents of the accordion. So let's create a div with the class of accordion content. So inside this div we can use pretty much anything, it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to use a paragraph tag, and let's put some dummy lorem ipsum text. Let's save. Okay, so this is it, and we are going to make the first accordion functioning and styled. Then we are going to just copy this single accordion a multiple time to create how much accordion we need. So now let's move on to the CSS and style this on. So after styling of the body, let's target the container div. Inside the container div, let's give it a maximum height for larger size display, maybe 760 pixels. It will not do any difference in here because the display height is more than 760 pixels now, but if we make it like this, then we can see that this is the 760 pixels. Okay, but for a small size display I want to add a little bit of margin with it. So at top and bottom we don't need any, so I'm just going to put 0, but from left and right we can use like 15 pixels. Now we got a little bit gap at the left and right. Okay, after putting the margin, let's give it a background color of white. Now let's also add a border radius to maybe 10 pixels. Okay, the border radius has been added, but the arrow here or this icon here, it's kind of overflowing it. So what we can do is we can use the overflow hidden. Now the corners are rounded too, so whichever element is inside the container div, if it is overflowing the parent element, which is the container, that will get hidden. Okay, I'm also going to add a box shadow. This is just a subtle box shadow, so it will look like it is going to be popped up with from the background. So let's use 10 pixel and 48 minus 19. Okay, and let's use RGBA, black color. So black should be 0 0 0, and for the opacity let's use 30%. Okay, it looks fine. So after the container, let's target the button here, which is this thing. So let's target the button, and as you can see, it got this background color. So let's make the background color transparent. So now it will be gone, and it will take the background color of the element, which is the container, and white. Okay, there is a default border, so I'm just going to make it none. Now the border is also gone. Now when we hover on that, I want the cursor to be pointer, so let's add a cursor pointer. Okay, now it is pointer. So this is kind of taking this much space because by default the button is an inline element. What we can do is we can give this a display of block, so it will take the entire void. So let's give this a void of 100%. Okay, now it looks ugly. We are going to target the button SVG to make the arrow smaller, or the chevron. So let's target the SVG here and give this a height. It will do the rest because this is kind of a square shape. Okay, now it looks better. We are going to position the SVG later, but now let's target the button here. Also let's do it. So we are going to make the button SVG position absolute relatively to the button here. So for that we need to give this a position of relative, and the SVG will get a position of absolute. Now we can position the buttons properly. So I want the button to be at the right side, so let's put right and maybe 40 pixels from the right. Now they're at the right side. Okay, but the text head is kind of at the center. I'm just because that's the default for button, I'm just going to make the text align to the left. Okay, now it's at the left side. Let's also add a little bit of padding with it. So let's try 30 pixels. Okay, it looks fine. I'm also going to add a hover effect with that, so we can do that. Button hover, I just want to change the background color to kind of grayish color, so let's use D4, and let's add a transition to make it smoother. Transition, I just want to change the background color, so let's use 0.3 second and ease. Hopefully it will work. Okay, fine. It's great. Now let's move on to the next thing, which is the accordion content. I just want to add a little bit of padding with that. So accordion content, with the accordion content, let's target the paragraph tag first and add some padding with the text. So padding, let's use the same padding, otherwise it will look awkward. Now we got similar amount of space around it, just as the button here. Now there are two different type of icons in here. One is for the closing and another one is for opening. So we can create two different type of class, one for hiding the element, and we can make it display none. So we are going to use Alpine to add the class with that particular icon, so it will be hidden. And another one is for displaying it, so we are going to make it display inline block. Okay, fine. Now let's move on to the accordion.html and add our or create our component. So for creating the Alpine component, we are just going to use the X data, and let's create a variable named accordion. So what we are going to do here is we are going to give this accordion a value like on, 2, 3 or anything else. So when we are going to click on any of the button, we are going to use the click event to change the value of the accordion, and in that case the accordion with that particular value is going to open. If it feels confusing, it will get clear very soon. So for starter, we are going to use the value of on, because I'm just going to give this a value of on for the first accordion item. Now while clicking the button, I want to change the value of this accordion, right? So that's why we are going to add a click event with this button. So let's do that, and we are going to use the X on directive, and you may know that the @ sign is the shortcut for X on directive. So if we just type click, so X on click, something will happen. So at first we need to check that if the value of the accordion is already on or anything else, otherwise we don't need to do anything in here, right? So if the value of the accordion is already on, then we don't need to do anything whenever we are going to click the button. So let's check that. So accordion, if this is not equal, that means this is the not equal sign, and we are going to put 2 equal sign. That means this is kind of the similar sign for JavaScript, the value. So if the value of the accordion is not on, then we want to make the value of the accordion on, right? Then accordion should be equal to on. Otherwise we can just put a null value here. Accordion is equal to null. So what we have done in here is, if the value of the accordion is not equal to on, then we want the value of the accordion to on, and if the value of the accordion is already on, we just don't need to do anything. So we are just going to put a null value to the accordion. Okay, so let's try it out if it works or not. Now let's go to the style.css, and the accordion should be hidden in normal circumstance. So let's target the accordion content and give this a maximum height of 0. So what we are going to do is we are going to use Alpine to increase the maximum height of this content. So how we are going to do that? Well, we are going to use the X bind directive to add a style tag with that. So this is the accordion content, and let's target it. We are going to use the style attribute of HTML, but we can put our stylings in here. So if we give it a maximum width in here, like 400 pixel, save. Sorry, it should be maximum height, not the width, because we don't need to do anything with the width. Now it is visible. So if we give the value of 0 pixel, this is invisible, and if we are just going to increase the maximum width, then this is going to be visible. So that's what we are going to do with the Alpine.js here. So we are going to use the X bind directive, and we can just use the colon in here and tag the style. That means that X bind, this is the shortcut, and we want to give this a value. So we want this accordion on visible, the content of the accordion on visible, if the value of the accordion is on. Otherwise we don't need to do anything, right? So if it is equal to on, we want to change the max height, right? It should be inside a quotation. So we want to change the max height and we are going to give this a value. But this can be a little bit tricky because the accordion content doesn't have a specific height, because maybe for the first accordion content this is this much, but for the second accordion this is so much text. So there is no fixed height, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to use Alpine to grab the or get the value from the component, and we are going to do that by using xrefs. So in Alpine, the xref or the ref is used to grab a element from the HTML DOM. The JavaScript got a version of that, like document.querySelector, get element by ID. So the xref is the Alpine's version of that. Okay. So in order to grab a element by Alpine, we are going to give that element a xref value, and we can give it whatever name we want, like container on, because that's the container on. And in order to get this value, just for demonstration purpose, I'm just going to use a xinit. So the xinit is a Alpine directive. That means when the Alpine loads this, anything inside the xinit is going to load. Okay. So we just want to console.log it. So console.log, and we can put whatever we want. So we need to grab this div, right? And we have given this a xref of container on. So in order to grab that, we need to use the refs magic element, then the element, that name we have given the xref. Now if we save it, we can see it can grab it grabs the element here, like with the class of accordion content and everything. We can see in here they got the entire content, but we need to get the value of the height of the element. So we are going to use the scroll height to do that. The scroll height is a basic JavaScript method. This has nothing to do with Alpine. Now if we refresh it, we can see this is on 117 pixels. So this is the height of the element, and let's just increase it a little bit. Now the value should change. See, it has increased. So that's what we are going to do. We are going to grab the value of the height of the element and give this as a maximum height, right? So this is very simple. I'm just going to copy this, and now let's use the x bind here. We are going to bind it with the style, and now if the accordion is equal to on, we want to give this a maximum height of that value we have copied from there. So we are going to bind it dynamically. So what we can do is we can just concatenate it as a string. I'm just going to paste it in here. So it is going to apply this value with the maximum height. Okay, but this only returns as value. There is no unit like pixels or anything. So we are going to add the pixel as a text also. So let's use pixel. So this is the function. If the accordion value is on, then it is going to add a maximum height with that. Otherwise we don't need to do anything, right? So let's put a colon, and I'm just going to put an empty string in here, so it will not do anything. So the maximum height will be literally empty, so it will not change anything. Now the value of the accordion is on, so it has given this the maximum height. Now if we change the value of the accordion to some other value like 2, it is going to disappear. See, it is very simple. Now we are going to add a little bit of transition to make it smooth, because otherwise this is very harsh. So we are going to do that with accordion content. because we have added the maximum height with the accordion content. So let's give it a transition all, maybe 0.5 second is, or is in out, let's use that. Now this is smooth. Fine, now we need to figure this on out. So when the accordion is visible, we on the chevron up button to show up, right? And we are going to do this by adding or removing the class of hide and show. We are going to do it by using xbind, and as you know, the shortcut is colon, and we are going to bind it as a class. Now we are going to do a basic checkup in here. So if the value of the accordion is equal to on, that means the accordion is already opened. So we don't on the chevron down to show up. So let's do the basic check in here. If the accordion is equal to on, then we need to hide it. So let's add the class of hide with that. Otherwise, we are going to make it show. Okay, let's save, and as you can see, the accordion is open. That's why the only arrow up or chevron up is going to be displayed. Now we need to do the opposite thing with the chevron up button. So I'm just going to copy this and paste it in here. Just swipe up the class name and it will be fine. Okay, great. So this is the single accordion, and we are going to copy this how many times you want. Now we need to change the value for that. So this is the second accordion, and when the accordion value is going to be 2, we are going to display it. So let's just change the value. And this is the third accordion. Sorry, this is also the second accordion content, and this is the third accordion. Let's change the value here. And I think we are fine with that. Now the issue in here is kind of with the overflow. So now the content is hidden. They got no maximum height, because the height is here is 0. Maximum height is 0, but this is kind of overflowing it. So if we make the overflow hidden and save, now it will be invisible. Okay, I think there is an issue in here. I have changed this yet. Okay, now it should be fine. Let's also change the text here, otherwise it gets confusing. Okay, fine, we are done with it. Now before finishing it out, I'm just going to add a little bit of border with that. So what we are going to do is we are going to add a little bit of border with the buttons in here. So let's target the button, and let's give it a border bottom here, maybe on pixel solid, and we can use a grayish color. So let's use RGBA. 185 should be for the grayish, and for the opacity let's use 0.4, that means 40%. Now we got this nice border bottom. But I want to add a border top with this button here, otherwise it kind of looks at the same element and I don't like it. So let's add a border top with the second and third and second element here, but for the first element we don't want any border top, so we are just going to exclude the first element in here. So how we can do that? Well, we are going to use the pseudo element here. So let's see, everything in here is inside a single accordion. We are just going to target the single accordion and not the first child. Okay, We don't want to do anything with the first accordion button. And let's target the button now, and we are going to add a border top with that. I'm just going to copy and paste this same value in here because we want the same type of border. Let's save. Now the first one doesn't have any border top, but the second one has a border top, and also the third one. So this was our project, and this is pretty useful for website development because maximum website got an accordion, like the common FAQ section or anything like that. So now we can use it. You can just copy and paste the code and do the styles accordingly. So see you in the next video.